Are you having a hard time figuring out what to get Dad for Father's Day? You should check out Row 1 Brand's Vintage Pictorum Gallery. They have America's best sports art. With over 7,200 historic sports prints, you're assured to find something unique for Dad this Father's Day. Instead of a boring old tie, get him a historic baseball photo taken by Henry High Sandham at the historic Polo Grounds Stadium in New York City during the 1894 Temple Cup. Or, if he's an NFL buff, check out the 1963 vintage NFL poster. These are so good looking that you'll be amazed how they turn out. Shop now at sportshistorynetwork.com/row1 and save 15% off your order.
Who is it that's your favorite NFL player that wore jersey number 98? Well, we have a great list of contestants that were very substantial in the NFL that wore 98, and we're going to share that list with you and pick a top 10. This story and more in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history on a day-to-day basis. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time. So as we come out of the tunnel of the Sports History Network, let's take the field and go no huddle through the portal of positive gridiron history with pigskindispatch.com.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com, your portal to positive football history, and it's Jersey by Numbers night. And it is jersey number 98 is our subject today, and we have got some great players to talk about. The word jersey number 98. There's mostly modern players, because remember, we had that 1984 rule where the NFL opened up the numbers in the 90s once again to players, especially of the linebacking and defensive line core that they could wear. So most of these are modern players, but our first one who's actually in the Hall of Fame is Mike Ditka. He is a Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio entry, and he wore the jersey number 98 for one season in 1967, and that was when he played for the 2 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles. One of those seasons he wore 98, and then he went back to his normal number 89, a Hall of Famer nonetheless. Mike Ditka, we have a nice bio that's going to be coming up on October 18th, which is his birthday, but we'll give you some snippets of that. He was born in Carnegie, Pennsylvania, which is right around Pittsburgh. His name was officially Michael Keller Dyzko, Dyczko. And the story on ChicagoBears.com in December of 2007 says that the Ukrainian surname of Dyzko was difficult to pronounce in his hometown, so the family name was changed to Ditka. Ditka was a 3-sports star at Alquipa High School, and then he went to the University of Pittsburgh. It was a college of choice by Ditka after Notre Dame and Penn State also recruited the youngster. And he may have been the best pure tight end that college football had ever seen at that point, as he revolutionized the position, not only with his strong traditional blocking, but he also could catch passes, run routes, and just run over people when he had the ball. He was also the punter for the Pitt Panthers for his 3 seasons there. And in 1961, the NFL draft, Ditka was the first pick by the Chicago Bears. He became the star of the Bears on 1963's NFL championship team. And per the Pro Football Hall of Fame's website bio on Iron Mike, he was the Rookie of the Year in 1961 and received all NFL honors in 4 different seasons. Ditka set a career record for tight end receptions when he retired with 427 catches and finished with 5,812 yards and 43 touchdowns. He played in 5 straight Pro Bowls to start his career and didn't miss a minute of those 84 games played with the Bears. In 1967, Ditka was traded from Chicago to the Eagles, suffered an injury while in Philadelphia that hampered his playing time there, and then in 1969 found himself playing in Dallas, where for 4 seasons there, and he scored the final touchdown in a Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl VI victory. College Football Hall of Fame selected him in 1986 to enter into their museum, and the Pro Football Hall of Fame enshrined him in 1988. And of course, he was the great coach of the Chicago Bears Super Bowl 20, the Super Bowl Shuffle Bears. That great 85 defense that they had was one of the greatest defenses of all time, and they dominated the entire season, except for that one loss on Monday night to a Miami Dolphins team. And that sort of ended their perfect season, and what a great way to have that done by the only other team in the modern NFL that was undefeated. That was the Miami Dolphins of 1972. They stopped the Bears in their tracks 13 some years later, and they were drinking the champagne that night with Coach Tualele, that's for sure. Now, so Mike Ditka, 1 season with the 98. I'm not sure we can put him on our schedule of top 10 right now, but maybe our next player we can. Jesse Armstead. He was a linebacker that played with the New York Giants from 1993 all the way to the 2001 season, and then 2 years with Washington, 2002-2003. 751 solo tackles, 40 sacks, 5 Pro Bowls, 1 All-Pro. Jesse Armstead out of Miami, Florida, Miami Hurricanes. Great linebacker, 6'1", 237. Jesse is going to go on our list with his 11 seasons wearing that number 98 and those great All-Pros. Casey Hampton, another one of my favorites, a Steeler, nose tackle, defensive tackle, mostly known at the nose. 2001 was the Steelers' draft pick. Played with the Steelers all the way through 2012, was just that stopper up the middle. 231 solo tackles, 4 forced fumbles, 9 sacks. 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and he was the 19th overall pick of the 2001 NFL Draft. Came out of the University of Texas, was a Longhorn, and fantastic 6'1", 325-pound fire plug that just ate up a lot of space in there for those linemen to try to have to clear out, and most of the time they could not. He was the immovable force, and Casey Hampton is our next immovable force that's going on our list of top 10 greatest players ever to wear 98. Robert Mathis, can he make that list? He was a defensive end. Played for the Indianapolis Colts his entire career, 2003 through 2016, and 123 sacks in his career, 408 solo tackles, 54 forced fumbles, 192 games, 5 Pro Bowl appearances, 1 time as an All-Pro, and as a Super Bowl champion. The Indianapolis Colts drafted him in the 5th round of the 2003 NFL Draft, and he came from Alabama A&M, 6'2", 245 pounds. Great player, great bookend that he was on that pass rush of the Indianapolis Colts with Dwight Freeney, and just had some great years there with them. And we're going to put Robert Mathis as our 3rd player on our top 10 best number 98s ever. Greg Ellis is another one to look at. You know, Greg, he played with the Dallas Cowboys. Played from 1998, where he was drafted in the 1st round, 8th overall, the 98 draft by the Cowboys, and stayed with them all the way through 2008. And in 2009, he came back for 1 more year, only this time with the Oakland Raiders as a defensive end. He had 84 sacks total in his career, 400 solo tackles, 22 forced fumbles, 176 games, 1 Pro Bowl, and was the 2007 AP Comeback Player of the Year. He came out of North Carolina, the great Tar Heel, 6'6", 265 pounds. Greg Ellis, one we're going to take a look at the end. We're not going to put him on quite yet, but he's got a good inside chance to possibly make it onto our list. How about the Goose, Tony Siragusa, defensive tackle, nose tackle, a big guy. 1990, the Indianapolis Colts drafted him, and out of the University of Pittsburgh, and he played from 1990 all the way to 1996 with Indianapolis, and then he went to Baltimore 97 through 2001, so 7 years in Indy, 5 years in Baltimore. 22 sacks in his career, 487 solo tackles, 5 forced fumbles, 169 games, 1-time Super Bowl champion. I was surprised to see that he was never in the Pro Bowl and was never an All-Pro. Interesting, but wore 98 his entire career. Tony Siragusa, another one to consider at the end here. John Henderson, could he be on our list? A defensive tackle out of the University of Tennessee. The Jacksonville Jaguars drafted him in the 1st round, 9th overall, the 2002 NFL Draft. He played with Jacksonville most of his career, 2002 through 2009, and there was an Oakland Raider 2010-2011. He made it into 2 Pro Bowls, but he wore 98 for 8 seasons. By the way, Goosa worked for 12 seasons. I think we're going to put John Henderson on our list as our fourth entry with those great numbers that he has. Next, number 98 up is a defensive end defensive tackle out of the Tennessee State University, Anthony Pleasant. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the third round, 73rd overall, the 1990 NFL draft, and he stayed with Cleveland through the 95 season and then traveled with them to Baltimore in 96, then left, went to Atlanta 97, was a New York Jet 98-99, San Francisco 49er in 2000, and then found a home with the New England Patriots 2001 through 2003. 6 years in Cleveland, 3 with the New England Patriots, 2 with the Jets, and 1 year each Atlanta, Baltimore, San Francisco. He was a fantastic player, 58 sacks, 455 solo tackles, 13 forced fumbles, and Anthony Pleasant had 14 seasons that he wore that number 98, and just fantastic numbers there for him. 202 games, 2-time Super Bowl champion Anthony Pleasant. Not any Pro Bowls or All Pros, but still some great numbers all the same. Next player up is the great Brian Arakpo, University of Texas. He came to the Washington Redskins in 2009's NFL draft, first round pick. Played with the Redskins all the way through 2014, and then 4 years with the Tennessee Titans, 2015 through 2018. 66 sacks in his career, 294 solo tackles, 12 forced fumbles, 132 games, 4 Pro Bowls for Brian Arakpo, and I think that is probably enough to get him as our 5th player on our docket here of greatest players to wear the number 98. So we will make sure we have Brian on there. Our next player is Gerald Williams, a nose tackle, defensive end defensive tackle. He played for the Pittsburgh Steelers, drafted in the second round, 36th overall, 1986 NFL draft. He was with the Steelers from 1986 through 1994, then 2 years in Carolina, 95, 96, and then 97 he played with Carolina and with Green Bay, so 9 years in Pittsburgh. 363 solo tackles, 25 and a half sacks, 5 forced fumbles, 161 games, no All-Pros and no Pro Bowls. University of Auburn was his school. Great player Gerald Williams was. Fred Robbins, another great defensive tackle. The Minnesota Vikings drafted him in the second round of the 2000 NFL draft. He stayed with Minnesota through 2000 through 2003, a New York Giant for 6 years after that, and then 2 final years with St. Louis Rams in 2010-2011. 35 and a half sacks, 272 solo tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 180 games, 1-time Super Bowl champ. And that's some pretty good numbers there, too. No All-Pros, no Pro Bowls. Grant Wistrom, another fantastic player. Wore 98 for quite a few seasons. Most of those, well, they were 8 seasons altogether, and that was with St. Louis Rams, was where he was drafted from 98 through 2003. Went to Seattle 2004, 2005, 2006. 53 sacks. 335 solo tackles, 6 forced fumbles, 132 games, 1-time Super Bowl champion out of the University of Nebraska. St. Louis Rams drafted him in the first round, 6th overall, the 98 draft. That Super Bowl championship, no All-Pros though, or Pro Bowls for Grant Wistrom. Connor Barwin, another defensive end that was drafted by the Houston Texans in the second round, 46th overall, the 2009 NFL draft. And he was played for Houston from 2009 through 2012, then was a Philadelphia Eagle for 2013 through 2016, LA Rams 2017, 2018 New York Giants, and he made it to 1 Pro Bowl during his career, and 142 games, 56 and a half sacks, 7 forced fumbles, 269 solo tackles for the great player out of Cincinnati University. 6'4", 255-pound defensive end Connor Barwin. Julian Peterson, another good linebacker, very solid. San Francisco 49ers first round draft pick, 16th overall, the 2000 NFL draft. He played with the 49ers from 2000 all the way to 2005, Seattle Seahawks for 3 seasons after that, and in his final 2 years, Detroit Lions 2009-2010. 51 and a half sacks, 602 solo tackles, 21 forced fumbles, 158 games, 5 Pro Bowls, and 1 All-Pro for the great player out of Michigan State, the Spartan. He is going on our list as our 6th player for Julian Peterson. Fantastic job by him. Brian Robertson is our next player. He wore the jersey for 10 seasons, number 98, and he played with the St. Louis Rams 1997, and then went to the Bears 98 through 2003, Miami Dolphin in 2004, Cincinnati Bengal for 3 years, 2005 to 2007, Arizona Cardinal 2008 through 2010. And he had 24 sacks in his career, 320 tackles, 6 forced fumbles, 207 games, no All-Pros, no Pro Bowls out of Fresno State. Defensive 10 tackle, defensive end, Brian Robinson. Star Tualele, another great name, was drafted by the Carolina Panthers in 2013 and played with them for 5 seasons. Currently is with the Buffalo Bills from 2018 through this season. Great player, 15 and a half sacks so far in his career, 110 solo tackles, and he has not made it to any Pro Bowls or All-Pros seasons, but great defensive tackle, all the same for him. Eric Hicks, this is an Erie, Pennsylvania product. I officiated this young man at Mercyhurst High School, and he ended up going to the University of Maryland. He was a Terrapin, and the Kansas City Chiefs drafted him in 1998's draft. He stayed with them all the way through 2006, 1 season with the New York Jets. So 9 as a Kansas City Chief, 44 and a half sacks, 261 solo tackles, 6 forced fumbles, 139 games for him. And believe it or not, he did not have any All-Pros or Pro Bowl seasons. He had quite the tear of great sacks the one season. He had 14 sacks in the year 2000. But somebody ended up beating him out for most sacks that year. I'm surprised he did not make it in 2000 in the Pro Bowl. But like I said, he's an Erie, PA guy, and we're definitely going to mention him. Great player all the way through his career, high school, college, and the pro level. Eric Hicks, definitely a person to be considered as substantial. Linval Joseph, East Carolina was his college. The Los Angeles Chargers is his current team. He has been with them for the last 2 seasons. He was originally drafted by the New York Giants in 2010, played with them for 4 seasons, was a Minnesota Vikings for 6 years after that, and still going strong here in 2021. 24 sacks so far, 359 solo tackles, 162 games, 2 Pro Bowls, 1-time Super Bowl champ, Linval Joseph. He is going on our list as our 7th player to make it into this great list of jersey number 98s. Another fine player that we can talk about is Mike Patterson. Now, Mike Patterson, defensive tackle, Philadelphia Eagles 2005 through the 2012 season, 2013-2014 with the rival New York Giants. He had 287 solo tackles, 16 and a half sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 147 games, no Pro Bowls, no All-Pros seasons. USC Trojans was his alma mater. Eric Swan, another defensive tackle, defensive end. Phoenix Cardinals from 1991 and then turned into an Arizona Cardinal through the 99 season. 2000 was a Carolina Panther. 46 and a half sacks, 386 solo tackles, 6 forced fumbles, 126 games, 2 Pro Bowls for Eric Swan. And that makes him get on our list as our 8th spot for Eric. Great player there. Then we will go to our list. So we have 8 so far, just in review. Jesse Armstead, Casey Hampton, Robert Mathis, John Henderson, the great Brian Arapko, Julian Peterson, Linval Joseph, Eric Swan. Who are our other 2 be? Well, I'm going to put Greg Ellis on that list, and I'm also going to put Tony Siragusa as our 10th player. So there's our top 10 greatest number 98s ever. We're sure glad that you joined us here once again. This is a very popular season. I'm sorry that it's coming down to the end, but we have these preserved in history. You can listen to these anytime you want, your favorite podcast provider, or go to sportshistorynetwork.com, one of 24 great and growing podcasts on the sportshistorynetwork.com that you can enjoy all of our feeds there. And you can go to our home website, pigskindispatch.com. All of our podcasts are there. All of our blog posts are there. We have more and more coming to you each and every day. We post every day. We podcast every day. Football history is an everyday event for us, and we love to share it, preserve that football history. We thank you for listening. Until tomorrow, everybody, have a great Gridiron Day.
Hey, are you ready for some football? Some fantasy football? How about some daily fantasy football? Silly questions, right? Of course you are. You're ready to talk some smack and win some cash every Sunday, and Thursday and Monday, and whenever there's football games. The Sports History Network invites you to play your daily fantasy football this season at thrivefantasy.com. Thrive Fantasy offers hundreds of thousands, millions in cash every day on NBA, MLB, PGA golf, cricket, esports, and of course, NFL football. Every week during the 2021 NFL season, Thrive Fantasy has pool play contests and heads-up matches with prizes of all sizes, and even free play contests for real money. Sign up with Thrive Fantasy today to get a 100% match bonus on your first deposit for up to $100 in free daily fantasy football play. Visit sportshistoryNetwork.com/thrive. That's THRIVE, or enter promo code SHN when depositing at the cashier. Join Thrive Fantasy today, earn cash prizes, and support great shows like this at the Sports History Network. Now that's a win-win-win situation for you to kick off your own NFL season.
That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.
At the Sports History Network, we're all about sports yesteryear, and so we're so pleased to introduce you to Row One, an online memorabilia gallery and shop that brings your sports history to life anywhere. The Row One gallery includes over 5,200 gorgeously reproduced prints of team posters, game program covers, game tickets, advertisements, and more in baseball, pro and college football, pro and college basketball, and more. And any gallery item may be printed in a variety of sizes on wood, metal, canvas, acrylic, or poster paper. And in Row One shop, check out the thousands more of unique items with the retro and historical designs dating back to 1876, including t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, phone cases, mugs, blankets, pillows, towels, and even shower curtains. Go to sportshistorynetwork.com, ROW1, for access to the full Row One catalog and for gallery prints and gift items, plus get a 15% discount off all prints on the Row One Pictorum Gallery with coupon code SHN15. Follow the link on the show notes.